Jimmy Butler, he's a very interesting player to me.
He's like, oh, shoot, I don't know where to go with the ball because I haven't been able to think.
It was a great series. Game 4 was one of the best games I've ever watched in my entire life. Now LeBron's a 4-time champion, and Anthony Davis gets his first.
It's unacceptable. So happy when the Astros lost because it would definitely be a 2020 thing.
Yeah, I was impressed by their game. Braden Point, Andre Palat, Nikita Kucherov, that was the best line in the playoffs, no doubt.
Stay undefeated when they face the mighty Cowboys with Garrett Gilbert.
Hey everyone, I'm Jared Sandler, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NFL Opinions of the Week. I am Kevin. I'm joined by the man with the questions and teams, Austin.
Yeah, so this has been an interesting start to the year. There's been a lot of teams that are significantly lower in the standings that they would want to be. But there's some teams that maybe should panic, maybe shouldn't. I'm going to bring up the 5 teams to Kevin to say whether or not they should panic. This isn't only on record. It could be injury-based. It could be coaching-wise. It could be a lot of different things. So we'll start off with the Dolphins. They're losing Tua for at least 4 weeks. They're already 1-1. They play in a division with the Jets and the Bills, so they don't have the easiest division in the world. The AFC is extremely competitive. Should Dolphins fans or the Dolphins themselves panic?
I don't think they should panic for this season. The only panic I would say is sort of the future of quarterback. As that I would say is unclear right now. It's up for grabs. I think there are different ways it can happen. I would say for 4 weeks, I think they're good just because I trust their offensive system. It's not going to be what it was under Tua, but I think it can pass. So I'm going to say not panic for the Dolphins yet.
Even though the Tyreek's getting older and they have players that are getting older, so it makes it really hard to be contenders if Tua's out long term.
Yeah, that's the only thing is long term. But
long term this season.
This season, I don't.
Because aren't you trying to contend this year? Wasn't that kind of the point?
Yeah, you're trying to contend this year, but I don't think. I think Tyreek Hill is still going to be great this year. And you have Jalen Waddle too. They have good running backs. They have Achane. I know Mostert's dealing with an injury, but to me, they can do enough to get back to the playoffs. And so I'm not really panicking. I don't think they're going to lose every game.
I mean, it's basically been back-to-back. If they just make it back to the playoffs, they've grown nothing as a team because that's what they've done the last 2 years.
I would say they've been battling adversity, and it just depends on getting past that. But that depends on your quarterback.
Point.
Because there's a possibility right now Tua comes back later in the season and plays. That's
yes,
what
but
I
can
think
you be good enough in a very right now? I have an 11-6. If you look at my season prediction, I had an 11-6 Jets missing the playoffs. Right, so you need to be better than just okay to make the playoffs, and they're 1-1 right now, and they're going with Skylar Thompson as their QB. We don't necessarily know how that's going to work out.
We don't know, but I would say I have faith that they can do enough to make sure they're competing for a playoff spot and looking at the positive that Tua comes back. So I'm not going to panic.
Okay. The next team is the San Francisco 49ers. Debo will miss a couple weeks. They had the CMC injuries. Ayuk is not playing well. They just lost to the Vikings. Should Niners fans panic at all?
This one, I would say this is similar to the Dolphins because I hold Kyle Shanahan in high regard, and he's held in a higher regard than Mike McDaniel. But I do think there's some great offensive teams. But I am a little bit nervous because of Debo being injured and Christian McCaffrey. However, I think I'm going to say no because you still have your quarterback, and this is going to be a big season for Brock Purdy to prove. And they are able to generate the run. So I do think they'll figure it out.
Okay. I think I agree with you. I think I agree that there's no need to panic. Now we'll go to one of the there's 6 teams that are 0-2 in the AFC. I would say at least 4 of them are highly unexpected for me, at least, especially with how they played this far this year. We'll go with the Colts first. AR struggled and they lost to the Packers without Jordan Love. A lot of turnovers from the team. The defense played well. But do you think Colts fans should panic? AR looked a little bit giddy in the pocket, and obviously they just lost to a significantly injured Packers lineup.
So would a panic be not for them? Because I view the Colts differently. I don't – their team you're always trying to win, but I think there are going to be some struggles. So is panic in relation to them not making the playoffs?
Panic's in everything. So AR looked like he's not been a great passer. He's made a couple great passes, but he's not a consistent passer. He looks, like I said, giddy in the pocket. He keeps moving around, taking sacks. He threw 3 interceptions this past week. So Michael Pittman's not getting really any of the balls thrown his way. So this is not just playoffs. Playoffs does have a factor because the Colts almost made the playoffs last year with Gardner Minshew. So I do think that there is some belief that they should be a playoff team. But it's also regarding AR's development.
I would say I would treat it almost like his rookie year because his rookie year, he did get cut short and he was viewed as a raw prospect out of the gate. So to me, I'm going to say not panic. I think they can relax. I would panic if trying to compete for the playoffs because given AR struggles, he's developing and we're seeing it happen. So to me, he's not going to be that level of quarterback to help with this team, as you talked about the offense struggling. But I don't think it means he's a bust or anything like that. It's just there are going to be some challenges that he has to grow from.
Okay. I think I'm a little bit panicking because AR looks poor. And do you think that he would learn at least some of the mental stuff, right? That's sitting behind for a year. It seems like QBs after a year are better, even if it is coming after an injury. So I would be a little bit worried, especially losing to the Packers with Malik Willis being their starting quarterback. The next team I want to go to is a team with an extremely difficult schedule this year, the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens go and they play the Cowboys. I'll check the rest of their schedule while you kind of give your opinion on it. But it does seem like this is kind of a worrisome time. Like this is a big time of the year for them, and they're not really winning the games they need to be winning.
I kind of want to say panic for them.
Before you give your full take, their next 3 games are Cowboys, Bills, and Bengals.
Tough. I feel like they beat the Cowboys, especially with what the Cowboys have shown with the lack of stopping run on their defensive side. However, I can't believe the Ravens lost to the Raiders. I understand losing to the Chiefs, but the Ravens had a 10-point lead and they lost to the Raiders. I would say, just given where they're at, and I don't think we've ever seen them behind the 8 ball like this with an 0-2. I think you can overcome an 0-2 start, but it takes a sort of mentality, and we haven't really seen them do that. So I am concerned about the offense. I do think they're great at running, but we saw with the Chiefs, they came close to winning from behind. But to me, they're a tough team to offensive-wise to get to help score when they're behind by some scores. And they just can't run the ball. And that's not helping them keep a lead because they had a 10-point game lead against the Raiders. And they are, I would say they're a dominant run team, but that did not help them keep the lead.
Okay. I I agree with you, mainly because of how difficult their schedule is. I definitely think it's panic time. I have two more teams I want to talk about. We'll start first with the Los Angeles Rams. They've lost Puka and Cooper Kupp. Matthew Stafford is getting older. They started 0-2. Tough fought loss to the Lions, and then obviously what happened last week against the Cardinals. Are you panicking if you're the Rams?
I would say I would probably say panic. Just because of what the offense is dealing with. I do think it seems like I shouldn't expect a wide receiver to pop up, but I kind of do expect a wide receiver just to pop up out of nowhere, like Puka Nacua did, and when Cooper Kupp went down. But that is really hurting them, and defensively, they were already recovering defensively from losing their defensive coordinator and Aaron Donald. So to start 0-2 is pretty tough for me. And especially in the NFC West.
Okay. Yeah, I think I would definitely be maybe not as panicking as much as the Ravens, but I would definitely be panicking because, again, Stafford's never been the healthiest QB in the world. He's played through injury, but it's never a guarantee that he'll play the whole season. And then with the injuries that have been mentioned, it's going to be tough. It is going to be tough. The last team I want to talk about is a team that's the inverse of the Ravens. They had a bad loss week 1 and then barely lost to the Chiefs. It's the Bengals. They're 0-2 as well in the same division as the Ravens. Are you panicking if you're the Bengals?
So I had a feeling the Bengals would come up since they're 0-2. And how I talked about how I'm panicking with the Ravens. I'm not panicking with the Bengals because this is the third straight year that they've started 0-2. And last year, they almost made the playoffs with Joe Burrow hurt. The year before that, they made it to the AFC Championship game. To me, this is a team that starts slow. And when I was talking about the Ravens not being a team that we've seen play like this and come back from starting 0-2, that we have seen this with the Bengals, and they made it to the AFC Championship game. I'm not worried about them just because I have faith in Joe Burrow. And I would say Zach Taylor has done this, has led his team out of a hole like this in recent years. I do think that offense will get it together, and it's just something the Bengals seem to do. They don't start off well.
Okay. Is there any other teams that you'd like to discuss, or have I covered the major ones?
You've covered the major ones. I would like to ask you about the Jaguars. They are 0-2.
Both of their games have been hard fought against good teams. They lost to the Miami Dolphins fully healthy week 1 in a very close game. And then they lost this past week to one of the best defenses in the league. Now, it does concern me that their offense isn't scoring touchdowns. Their defense is playing fine. I don't think their defense has been a problem at all. It's mainly going to come down to can their offense get it going. The Browns, I can still see the Browns being a playoff team just based on their defense alone. I know they didn't have a great showing against the Cowboys week 1, but I definitely think they're still a top 5 defense in the league pretty easily. And that can always get you a playoff spot. So I'm not too concerned about the defense. And I think the offense will come around. So I would say, no, I'm not panicking just yet. Their division, while it's not easy, is definitely more grace than the AFC North. So I don't think it's time to panic just yet.
Okay. Yeah, that's a team where it's a lot for them. I am a little bit concerned about the Titans just given how bad, just the critical mistakes Will Levis has done.
Yeah, but he's also had good moments as well. So that's kept him close against in I don't think people thought that they were going to beat the Jets. So I do think that they're losing close games, and some of it is Will Levis' fault definitely, but it's a learning time. So I don't think they expected to be a playoff team or anything near that this season.
All right, then that concludes this video. I'll let you close this one out.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. Please let us know how you feel about all the teams listed, or if there's any other teams that you think should be panicking. Thank you again.